This video is to show you how to pull the speaker out of the crate BX-25, along with how to pull out the amplifier out of its slot also. To begin with, make sure that everything is unplugged, and also too, when you get ready to pull the speaker out, make note which one is where the red wire, which terminal the red wire went on, and which one the black wire went on, as far as keeping your polarity on your speaker correct. Also, I've been noticing on YouTube a lot of videos that when they're talking about the crates, especially the small amplifiers, one of them actually said something about just grabbing this piece and just ripping it off. No, don't do that. There is a screw on each side that actually goes into the grill frame that you have to remove those first before you can pull this out. Then when you get ready to put it back in, there's a channel that this grill actually sits in, and when you set it down in the grill down into the channel, this will line up correctly, and then you'll be able to put those speakers back in. You might have to adjust how you're holding the grill. Might have to pull it forward just a little bit, or in order to get it into the grill correctly, into the frame. Otherwise you might bust the frame. And thirdly, I assume no responsibility for any trashing of your amplifier. It really is a do-it-yourself project. Like I said, make sure everything is totally unplugged out from the amplifier. I personally use the power drill on a low setting in order to remove the screws. And anyway, here we go. With both side screws removed, notice how easy it is to pull this grill off of the front of the amplifier. In order to remove the amplifier out easily, it is best to pull the speaker out and disconnect the cable off of the terminals off the speaker to give you enough slack from the wire. Be very careful not to poke any holes in your speaker while you're taking the screws out of the speaker. Now carefully lift the speaker out, and then when you have enough clearance, disconnect the speaker terminals. Now that you have the speaker wires disconnected from the speaker and the speaker removed from its enclosure, you'll now be able to remove these screws out of the top of the amplifier in order to pull the amp out of the back here. Notice that there's enough clearance underneath, so be careful when you're loosening this as it falls down. Your speaker wire is hanging down underneath there. You might have to put your hand in the back and raise the amplifier up in order to get the screw to pop up high enough to finish pulling the screws out. One of the reasons why I decided to take the amplifier out of this crate BX-25 was because I had the speaker was intermittent. The internal speaker would work, sometimes it wouldn't. And what it is there's a coupling right here. This coupling will pull out, and what it is, it's very, very loose. See how it just pops right out? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a poor man's way of repairing this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some electrical tape around it to keep it connected. Outside of that, one of the reasons why you can tell it's probably just the internal speaker connection here is you can always plug in an external speaker on the front. You can plug an external speaker in there and it works just fine. As you can see, I have vinyl tape. I took vinyl tape around the edges to hold it on from each side all the way down, and then I also took a piece of tape from this end down the side up and over to the other side And I used some plastic to kind of help me get the tape around it and get it on there snug. Hopefully this won't be vibrating loose anymore. And then this little amplifier will be just fine. When you're putting the amplifier back in the enclosure, I did it from the front, by the way, make sure that you feed your speaker wire back down through the hole, and also your power cord through the back, so that doesn't impede your progress. Another tip, when you get ready to put the screws in, line it up, and then just get in there just enough to where you can see where the screws are going to touch right there, and then you should be able to start tightening up pretty easily. To line up the back screws, as it were, might be easier if you put your hand in there and kind of pull the chassis up, and then you'll be able to put the screws in, and you'll feel when they go in the hole at first, and then that way you'll be able to get them started anyway. Hopefully before you pull the speaker out, or after you pull the speaker out, hopefully you made note of which side was the red terminal, which one was the black terminal for the wires. And then also when you're putting the speaker back in, don't screw the one screw all the way in at one time. Just get them good and somewhat snug beforehand, and get all four of them like you're changing a tire. When you put a tire back on a car, you get them all started, and then snug them all up after they're all in there. Once you have the grill for the speaker back in that channel, there are two speakers, one on each side of the amplifier, that holds the frame in place for the amplifier. See the screw there on that side, and there's one on the other side. I was very upset with seeing some YouTube videos that showed that basically the guy was telling you to just grab the grill and just pull it off like some of the bigger amplifiers have. But no, you can't do that with this one. There's screws on each side, and if you go to pull it off, you're just going to destroy the frame of the grill. So take the screws out of each side, and then when you're done putting this back on, then you'll put it back in there. Just kind of be very careful when you put it down in the channel. It'll go flush up against the instrument, up against the amplifier, but it may need about 1/8 of an inch clearance. So you might want to just put your fingers up there, or just be mindful that those screws are going to go into the frame, hopefully in the middle of the frame on each side. If you miss it, well, fine. Well, then just kind of take the screws out and kind of lift it up a little bit, and go at it again with the screwdriver in order to get them in the right place. I use a power drill with the screwdriver tip, and I have it on a low setting, so it does take a little bit of time there. So anyway, there you have on how to do that so that your grill and your frame all fits together. So anyway, this is for the Crate BX-25 practice bass amp. Great little amp. You plug a headphone into it in order to listen to yourself play, and also has an external jack, which you can use for an external speaker. So hopefully this will be of some help to someone that's interested in needing to know how to get into the amplifier or how to replace the speaker.